My goal as an athletic director at Missouri Western and the MIAA is to get our presidents and our ADs on the same page as to what the guardrails are in the MIAA, and not worry about the rest of it.
You could tell the energy and the excitement and the focus was all there, and so we're excited and we're ready to go.
We did a great job on the boards. Scouting-wise, I will say this, that's the best we have played still to this season as far as the scout and how we wanted to defend. So we're looking to do the same thing, and then they're going to make some adjustments, and we'll do the same.
Players win games and not coaches. And, you know, he said it. Like, we're pretty good when you want it to be a fist fight.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. After a bit of a lengthy absence, we are back. Our first Griffon Sports Insider podcast of the new year. Our first one at all since December the 16th. We were off for a Christmas break, and then we had a bit of a snow day last Monday, but we're back here on the 13th of January with our spring semester on our doorstep here at Missouri Western. I'm Tommy Rezach, joined in the opening segment by our Director of Athletics in his third year with us. It is Andy Carter on the mic with us. Andy, welcome. Thanks for coming on. It's been a little while since we saw each other. How was Christmas for the Carter family?
It was great. It was great. A little downtime, and like probably a lot of people, we battled getting sick a little bit. But we had time to rest, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was good.
Well, yeah, just kind of wanted to, talk with you as we're at this midpoint in our academic year. Obviously, fall sports in the books, but what a successful fall that was. A couple of teams getting to the NCAA tournament in volleyball and, of course, soccer with a historic run. And now here we are, middle of basketball season. And we got two teams that are well above 500 in the upper echelon of the league. So some pretty good things happening right now.
Yeah, it's been good so far. And as I was telling my wife yesterday afternoon, man, these weekends seem to just go a lot better when you win a game on the road. Things are just a lot more fun, and our kids are playing well. It's been kind of interesting that we've played 4 games and classes haven't started yet. But this stretch we have from the 2nd of January when we came back all the way through the next couple weeks, it seems like we're just playing some of the top end of the league, and we've got to get through it and do the best we can and let our season kind of stretch out a little bit. But our people, Coach Martin, Coach Feldhaus, are doing a great job getting our people ready to play. They're fun to watch. And I'm excited to see how this thing finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting ready to rematch the upper echelon of the league. We're going to Kearney Hayes this week, and then Central Washburn coming to our place. Talking of football, I saw today that February the 5th we'll have our signing day social to celebrate National Signing Day. That's a 6:30 p.m. event at Gino's Pizza and Pub here in downtown St. Joseph. In terms of football, I know that was a tough year for all the people who were involved. Some really good moments, some positive moments. You start with a win and end with a win, and beating Central Missouri and their Harlan Hill winner was fun, but obviously some of those losses were close ones, disappointing ones, all of them by 2 possessions or less. But in the days since, been some big wins that we've seen on the recruiting trail and on social media. Just kind of how do you assess the football program right now and where they're headed?
Well, I feel really good about where we're going. I mean, to the point that we just extended Coach Fenwick for 3 more years, and we feel good about the plan. We knew that when we hired him and we brought in a whole new staff, we knew there were going to be bumps in the road developing the roster the way we needed to, and it's going to take a little time. If you look at year one with the new staff, we had a good season, but you could look at that and say three plays and we're probably maybe undefeated, and in 3 other plays and we might be 6-5, right? Yeah. And that's the same thing, but that's kind of the conference we're in, right? Mm-hmm. And the same way this year, 4 wins, but you could easily go back through and say 6 or 8 were possible, right?
Very much.
And so that's the margin in this conference, and so we've got to get it all comes down to we've got to get the right people on the roster. We feel strongly that we've got a tremendous coaching staff. We've got a great athletic training staff. We've got a great strength and conditioning staff, and develop young people and get them ready to play at this level of football. again, out of our region comes the national champion.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be tough all the way through. And so we're taking an approach that we've got the right people. Now we just got to let it go to work.
Yeah, that was Ferris State out of the GLIAC winning that national championship. And then the regions are going to kind of reshuffle this year in football. Saw the schedule, the opponents released. Going to open at Augustana and then play one of Fenwick's old employers, Missouri S&T.
Yeah, and scheduling the non-conference games, I've been places where you had to get as many as 4 of those.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it feels like you're constantly trying to find competition, but it can't just be any competition. They've got, if you're going to play those games for the reason that we're playing them, they have to be people that are capable of having winning records, because that's how you get those regional points that help you to advance. And so they're Augustana will not be a regional game.
Okay.
But the S&T one is, even though they're not in our conference, they're actually not in our region, but since they're in our state, they count.
Okay.
Right? And so we have the opportunity to get out of that. Augustana is a playoff team from last year. And so they're a good, high-quality team, 5 hours right up the road. It's an easy for both of us. Their athletic director, Josh Morton, and I were friends from when I was in the NSIC, and so it just made too much sense.
Yeah, probably saw a lot of snow like this in the NSIC, huh?
Yeah, this was just another day.
Yeah, for sure. Missouri Western Athletic Director Andy Carter, our guest, for those of you that are just joining us on the Varsity Network app and on gogriffins.com/listen. Kind of zooming out a little bit, going back, there was kind of some news as it pertains to NCAA and this ever-changing landscape of college sports. So it was just before Christmas that there was a case involving a quarterback at Vanderbilt by the name of Diego Pavia. Basically, it was granted this waiver that gives him an extra year of eligibility, meaning his years at junior college not counting against him. And you were telling me before we went on air, there was a bit of a misunderstanding that there was a statement by the D1 Board of Directors at the NCAA saying, yep, that applies to everybody, but in fact it only applies to this one athlete. However, it sparked some lively banter, some discussion from you and others on social media on how these types of rules or proposals could impact Division II. And the NCAA convention is this week in Nashville. You'll be attending that. So with that timing and with this story I just talked about, where are things right now in this crazy world?
Yeah, it's like a lot of things. You have to dig in and really understand the issues before you comment, and you have to really read the fine print. He was granted basically not a waiver, but an injunction by a judge, and there's a court case that's going to come to fruition at some point. But he was granted an injunction to go ahead and start negotiating his NIL for next year.
Got it.
Based on the idea that his time in junior college basically doesn't count toward his NCAA time. And look, I think everything that we have thought to be the rules or the structure behind how we live in college athletics is open for debate now. Even like, well, who says you can't play 10 years if you're enrolled full time? Who says you can't do that, right? So all those things are being asked right now. So he's on his own little path. The board of directors of Division I did make a statement that they're going to, make this available for all Division I student athletes, and maybe they have the power to do that. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Division II has not done that, and the timing of that now, it would be problematic. Just think about, we just had a bunch of young people from our fall sports finish their last season of eligibility, several of whom went to junior college. And if that decision for Division II is made this week in Nashville, we've already spent the money that we had invested in them in recruiting new people. So if they wanted to come back, we may not even have the resources to bring them back. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think the delay has put it into a conversation, which I'm thinking is going to be big at the convention, is like, what do we do with eligibility? And it can't be arbitrary. There's got to be representation from all facets, from the academic side, from the presidential, obviously the presidential side, student side, from the athletic side. And I think what makes the most sense, and I've been saying this for a lot of years, is that we probably ought to go to 5 years of eligibility, but get rid of all of the waivers and get rid of all of the exceptions and all of the the odd things, whether it's a medical or a COVID year, whatever. You get 5 years, and if you're good enough to play games all 5 years, hey, so be it. You still may need the red shirt, and that's one of your years, right? But you still get your 4.
Yes.
So I think that conversation is starting to gain some traction. And maybe we'll come out of this convention with a direction on that. But right now, I mean, it's just a mess. And you know, the things that everybody's waiting on to happen, quite frankly, aren't going to happen soon. You know, the House settlement, we're waiting for Division I to figure out what that looks like. But in waiting for that, if it gets settled as it is currently, there's going to be more lawsuits because they're capping compensation. And that was one of the pillars of why we got to this place for that level of athletics, is they didn't think the compensation should be capped. And so I just think this thing is going to drag out way longer than anybody's comfortable with. My goal as an athletic director at Missouri Western and the MIAA is to get our presidents and our ADs on the same page as to what the guardrails are in the MIAA, and not worry about the rest of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know Mike Racy is always pretty vocal on social media about this. And, you know, you put out a tweet on Christmas Eve saying, you know, unconscionable for the NCAA to consistently act as if Division I is all there is, you know, be a little more thoughtful on those in Division II and III, the folks that they represent there as well. So I know we were talking off air that in conclusion, it's like a little more central control on some of this NIL stuff and, you know, the rules, a little more enforcement, number one, but also number two, just some folks needing to step up and speak up for Division II, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what happens in a lot of the things that we have conversations about. When we watch game, you know, people watch ESPN, they watch major networks, and it's all Division I, and so all the commentary is about that level. And then a lot of people assume that that's who we are. That, oh, you've got a football team? Well, everybody's on a full scholarship. Oh, you got a football team? Well, they're getting paid money, right? So there is a distinction between the environment at Division I, multi-levels at Division I, right?
High major, mid-major, low major.
Yeah, and those who have and those who have not at that level, just as there are at Division II.
Yep.
You know, we know which conferences are willing to commit the resources to try to be really, really good. Fortunately, we're in one of those.
Definitely.
But I've been in 5 other conferences that aren't that way.
Yeah.
And so there are levels to all of this, and the conversations are different for every level. Not just 1, 2, and 3, but within each division,
pillars.
They're different.
Yeah. Almost like power struggles, so to speak. And the MIAA just certainly, you know, I've been in like a media seat for 4 years, and the way we treat it, I always tell people, I think we try to treat it as Division I as possible with our conference tournaments, with our media rights, whatever it is. So it is we're in terms of D2 in our landscape, I think we're it's important to acknowledge we're pretty well off. And on that note, Andy, just to end it, you know, I sit in meetings with you a couple times a month, so I hear about these things here and now. But just down the road, what are some big projects as it comes to athletics that you're excited about that you can share?
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm most excited about going on right now is that we are well into our strategic planning progress for the next 5 years. And we're working with Mammoth Consultants to help us kind of figure out, like, you know, the whole questions, who are we, who do we want to be, and how do we get there, right? And so we're pretty far down the road on that. I think we just, after several edits and iterations with the consultants, we're to a point where our executive summary has been sent back to us to say, hey, is this really what you want? And it's been sent to the president, to myself, for us for one final review. And then that is the foundation of our strategic plan moving forward. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about we're deep into our master athletic facilities master plan, so that we, along with that strategic plan of this is where we're going and how we're going to get there, the facilities that are going to be necessary, you know, whether that's a renovation or a new facility or an upgrade of some kind, to help us get there and provide to our student athletes and our coaches the necessary facilities for championship level athletics. That has gotten to a point where we're now actually looking at the real options. Like, okay, we need to solve this problem. here's 2 ways you would do that or 3 ways you would do that. And so here in the when I get back next week, we'll start working with our senior admin team on kind of working through the options and limiting the number of options we actually show. But just it gets a little bit unruly with the bigger the group and the more the options, the exponential problems start to creep in. So, but we're excited about getting into that, and just really feel like we're in a great place for positioning ourselves for the next 10 years.
Excellent. Yeah, I know that's been the kind of a lot of dialogue this year is, planning at what do we look like in 3, 5, 10 years down the road. So, yeah, just like all the other things we talked about, discussions ongoing and more to follow in the new year, I'm sure. And in terms of the fall semester, too, a 3.32 department GPA, and you yourself extended for 3 years. So, it's been a fun year so far.
Yeah, it's been very good. We're excited about what's going on. The spring is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to watching our baseball, softball, golf, track and field, these teams and lacrosse continue to move forward, while at the same time this becomes our preseason for our fall.
Yeah.
And so there's development going on in all of our fall sports as we move forward. So.
Yeah, we talked about the recruiting bit with National Signing Day in early February, which we'll celebrate that with our annual social at Geno's. That's in early February. Baseball started practice Friday. Softball starting today. And, in fact, we will talk with our new head softball coach, Nicole Thompson, on the program today. But, Andy, thanks for the time. Appreciate it as always, and safe travels to Nashville.
You bet. Thanks, Tommy.
Andy and Teresa Grossbach, our senior woman administrator, representing Missouri Western at the National NCAA Convention in Nashville, Tennessee this week. Yeah, great stuff. It's always just an ever-changing world in NCAA athletics, and sometimes hard to wrap your mind around all the moving pieces and what's going on. So appreciate someone in administration, someone who's a little more well-versed than I on these matters to come up and talk to us about it. All right, like we said, we're going to talk softball. That's probably in the next segment. Nicole Thompson is here as she gets ready for her first year at Missouri Western. Talking basketball, too. The women, they'll be joining us later, Ashton Feldhaus, along with junior shooter Marie Sepp from Tallinn, Estonia. Marie has been playing some terrific ball as of late. They'll join us in the program. Will Martin and Justin Bubak of men's basketball. Both teams, of course, coming off a big-time sweep at Warrensburg at Central Missouri on Saturday. And mentioned it at the top of the show, we got 2 big rematches coming up on the road. We're at Fort Hays State Thursday, Nebraska-Kearney on Saturday. Feels kind of quick to be rematching them a second time in 2 weeks, but that's how the schedule shook out this year, so we'll be talking about those things as well. Missouri Western Track and Field is in action this Saturday. They'll be at the Hughes Fieldhouse in Maryville for the Coach Alsup Invitational. Cody Ingold and his team practicing currently, so they were unable to join us here today, but we certainly wish the best of luck to the Griffon men and women competing in Maryville this weekend. Talked about a baseball, softball practice underway. A little programming note here. Next week, next Monday, we will not have a show. That's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's also the inauguration going on. But next Tuesday, January 21st, that'll be our next show. So next week we're here, not Monday, but Tuesday. So just mark that on your calendar. And last but not least, before I take a break, a very happy birthday to our audio engineer, Missouri Western Hall of Famer, Rick Leahy. Thank you to Rick for all of his help, not only at these shows, but at the games all season and for many, many years, his devoted service to Missouri Western. We certainly appreciate it. Happy birthday to Rick Leahy. All right, let's take a break now, and when we come back, Nicole Thompson of Missouri Western Softball will join us to preview the 2025 season, which starts this month, 2 weeks from Friday. We'll talk about that more when we come back on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach, and we were talking with our athletic director, the man in charge, Andy Carter, about, we're deep into winter sports, but spring sports are right there. Baseball's had a practice on Friday. Missouri Western Softball will begin their practice today under the 7th head coach in program history. Been on the job about 7 months now. Nicole Thompson joining us. Nicole, welcome. I know we had a long sit-down interview this summer, a little get-to-know-you piece, but now you've been around for a while. Just it's here. It's hard to believe you'll be playing January 31st in the state of Texas. Just what's the feeling as you head into this week?
Yeah, we're excited. We kicked off running today. We just got out of practice, and you could tell the energy and the excitement and the focus was all there. And So we're excited and we're ready to go.
Yeah. I know you've been at work, kind of evaluating your roster. I count a dozen players who have returned, and so many with significant experience. And you added a number of transfers, which we can talk about. And then you also had some scrimmages. I know you played like MCC and a few others like that in the fall, some inter-team scrimmages as well. Just knowing where you left off in the fall and picking it up this week, where do you feel like you're at, and where do you hope to improve upon at this point?
Yeah, that's always the scary part. Sometimes I wish my season was in the fall. You know, you get all this great work in the fall. We condition, we lift, we scrimmage, we pretty much go just as hard as we would in the spring, and then you're like, oh, hey, winter break.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you do something over it and come back just as ready. But we did get some scrimmages, and that was nice to see. And so I'm excited with this group. We got down to it today, and we talk about all the things of doing the little things right, and it was, getting a whole new team together in the fall, of getting that culture, getting that team bonding, understanding my coaching philosophy, and, getting the reps that we needed to. And so it was good to see all that kind of come together in the fall, and we got to scrimmage some people. It wasn't really the best competition that we wanted to, but, still getting reps and still getting ourselves ready for when this kick off the season in January. But, I think we picked up today right where we kind of left off, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, live ball is live ball. It's certainly valuable in some shape or form, whoever you're playing at that point. Well, talking about some of the pieces you added, so for those who don't know, Nicole Thompson was the head coach at Division II Regis University, which is in the RMAC conference in the Denver area, a team that is coming off an RMAC championship. And a few players from that team joining us, catcher and utility player Rachel Barriga, an outfielder in Sienna Reed, and another catcher/utility, Sydney Young. But you also added coach infielder Lauren Newland and a shortstop in Ava McComas, an All-American shortstop, Ava McComas, coming from the JUCO ranks. Talk about, I know you can talk about each one a lot, but you announced these additions in the summer. Just how are they finding it so far?
They love it here.
Yeah.
It's been good to have them. And so I recruited Ava and Lauren when I was at Regis, and so they at least were comfortable and understood kind of my coaching philosophy and wanted to make the transition with me. And then the three that I brought over with Regis, I'm really glad that they did come. We brought a lot of power in the lineup between Sienna, Rachel, and Sydney. They did a really good job for us when I was at Regis with bringing that power in. And we want to be able to score in all different ways here. So we've got our speedsters, and then we've got some kids in the lineup that can be able to hit those home runs or gap-to-gap balls. And so those guys are definitely going to help to bring the depth into my lineup to help that. So excited with that. And then Lauren and Ava just bring that kind of that flexibility with our shortstop and second baseman of having that depth and being able to scrimmage. And it's been really helpful with the returners coming in with them. But, I'm excited to have them join, and they've done a really good job of getting in with the returners and meshing really well this fall.
And of course, you hired an assistant in Stephanie Dickerson, who had a terrific career in the Show Me State at Missouri State in Springfield, was doing a grad assistant stint at Kansas, so already in the area, in the region. Gotten to know her a little bit. I think she's great, brings a great energy. What's it been like just working with her? Working with pitchers and catchers, right?
Yep, that was my first thing of taking this job. I was not a pitcher or catcher, so I needed to delegate that job to someone, and you're only as good as your whole staff, and so Steph has really helped. Came on and really helped me produce these freshman pitchers coming in, or the returning pitchers coming in. And so she was an All-American at Missouri State, like you said. She's done a great job with our bullpens. She's very competitive like me. We very much match in the same way. So she's fresh off of her campaign at KU, and she's gotten a lot of great experience with McFall down there, and she's brought it here with our bullpens. And so really does fit our pitching staff and where we want to see it go. So I'm excited to have her and very, very fortunate.
Well, the season, like we said, starts 2 weeks from Friday, and we're going to play the first 10 games in the Lone Star State in Texas, for leading off with the D2 First Pitch Invitational. That's in Conroe, Texas. I forget what school's in Conroe, but we'll be playing St. Edward's, Midwestern State, Texas A&M International, Texas Women's University, and the University of Texas at Tyler. You follow that up with a trip to San Angelo. That's the home of Angelo State, and we'll play Angelo State, Washita Baptist, A&M International again. Got a non-con event in Washburn where we'll see some regional opponents. Same thing, we go to Shawnee in February to play some GLVC, NSIC flavor. I mean, a very stacked non-conference, to put it lightly. I know this team played some Texas teams a season ago, but, Washita, that's a regional game. Sioux Falls, Wayne, Crookston, Concordia, Minnesota State. I mean, there's some big names on that schedule. What was that like, just kind of figuring that out and filling in all those games?
I always want to build my schedule that way. I would rather us be more prepared getting into the MIAA or the conference that we're getting into, and we want to hit some of those adversities in those non-conference, and I want to be able to find who I can, trust and work through my depth of my roster, and you can't do that. We would love to run up scores on some of the teams, and we clearly still want to get our regional points and compete hard against those. But I do want to go up against the best, and I think that's going to give us the best version of ourselves when we get into the MIAA. And so, I scheduled hard, and I did it for a reason. But I think this team is up for the challenge. We've got a lot of returners, like I said. Sydney Rader's been on the mound for the Griffs for a really long time, and so I'm excited for her to kind of get that challenge down there. And UT Tyler just won the national championship in D2 last year, and so we're going to give them a run for their money for sure. And so I want those kids to understand, like, we want to go up against those teams and not be afraid of it and not be intimidated. We want to bring out our A game when we need to, and the only way you're going to do that is going up against that. And so hopefully we play well, we compete well. We always tell our kids right now we don't want to be playing our best at the beginning of the year. We want to be playing our best at the end of the year, but we still want to get down there, compete hard, work on things to get us ready for conference and play some good competition.
So that's 10, 15, 20 games in the non-conference. Then we open MIAA play at Fort Hays State March 8th, and we don't get to see these Griffins at home until Wednesday, March 12th against Upper Iowa, an NSIC team there. But that opens up a 6-game homestand in the middle of March, so hopefully a little warmer. We'll get the snow melted off and get ready to watch this team. Real quick, you did bring up Sid Rader in her 5th or 6th year. I know she had an injury year in there as well. She's someone that, recruited by Jen, played for Joe, and now is sticking around playing for you in your last year. I mean, what have the conversations been like with her? I mean, obviously her stats, her abilities speak for itself, but what kind of leader has she been during this time for you?
She's truly the definition of what we want to have as a leader. She's a true Griffin on and off the field. She's given everything that she can to this program and to this school, and so I'm very fortunate to be able to have her one more year. I always kind of joke about it. I'm like, can you find one more year? Can you have another eligibility year? But she's a dog on the mound. She's a workhorse. She doesn't want to give up the ball, and you just want one of those kids, and you want them as a senior, so then your young bucks can learn from that. And she's, it's not anything that I tell her to do. It's how high, and she's created the culture that we have here on our team, and so I'm excited to have her. I hope we can give her one good year to get out, and so yeah.
Yeah, multiple MIAA accolades in her name already. Had a terrific year. Even last year, even though things didn't quite end the way we wanted to in 2024, Sid Rader was a stalwart after missing 23 with injury. So I think we're all looking forward to her last go-around and looking forward to this season in general. A new chapter in a storied history of Missouri Western softball is Nicole Thompson with Coach Stephanie Dickerson. Going to take this team to Conroe, Texas, January the 31st. Things will officially start off with a doubleheader that day against St. Edwards and Midwestern State there in Texas. So, Coach, I'm sure I'll see you again before then, but until then, just have fun. Good luck with everything, and look forward to having you on here more.
Thank you so much. Thanks
All
for having
right,
me.
there you go. Nicole Thompson joining us on this portion of the GSI podcast. Baseball coach Damian Stamberski is here. He'll probably join us next week. I was told you had jury duty, Coach. Is that a thing? Apparently I got out of it. Okay, so he got out of it. That's good news. So I didn't want it to look like I didn't book you, Coach, but we'll have you on next week as Griffin baseball will start February 1st. So that's coming up too. Let's take a break. Let's get back into our winter sports. We've got a few athletes and coaches to talk to. We'll start with women's basketball, fresh off their win against Central Missouri on Saturday. Marie Sepp, Ashton, Feldhaus here to talk about it on the other side when we return. It's the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, entering our second half hour, starting this portion off with women's basketball. First-year head coach Ashton Feldhaus is here, and well, due to class schedules and things, it's been a little while since we've been able to talk to a member of the Griffon basketball team, but joining us is a first-year Griffon, a junior shooter, standing 5'5" from Tallinn, Estonia, a transfer of Division I University at Albany. It's Marie Sepp. Marie, welcome to you. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming as the Griffons split a couple of games on the road this past week at Washburn on Wednesday, Central Missouri Saturday. And, Coach, I hate to start with the Washburn game, but 88-73 the final result there. Not really a bad shooting night, but a tough day rebounding against the Ichabod's. They've got a terrific center in Yabari Widada. You know, we hung in there for a while, but they made their runs, got away from us in the end. Marie Sepp with a fine 21-point performance, but just kind of remind us your thoughts after Wednesday's game.
Yeah, we just didn't play well, to
Yeah.
be honest. And they shot the lights out of it. They hadn't
Yeah.
shot like that all season. But most of that was our defense. I don't think we played our defense was terrible. And you can ask them. That's what we've been doing the past week in practice. But, yeah, we looked sluggish and lazy. And all of that goes – you talked about the rebounding margin. I think we were out-rebounded 18, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we just didn't play well. Not our best performance, and you're going to have those nights. But offensively, we never really sputter, to be honest. That's never our concern. We talk about it all the time. Defense is what wins games. So we've kind of changed our philosophy a little bit as coaches as far as ball pressure and where we want to be in help side. So in that sense, I think it was really good for us because this past week I think we've gotten a lot better. I thought UCM was excellent for us.
Yeah.
Our defense was outstanding. So, yeah, we just took it as a positive. I hate to do it with a loss, but sometimes that's just how it goes.
Yeah, team that still won 8 of its last 9 and 5 of its first 6 conference games. And for you, Marie, obviously you played a couple years at the Division I level, but coming here, you know, to Middle America, MIAA, you know, the fall off in terms of talent, not much, if at all. I mean, some really good ball being played in our league. What's been for you the biggest learning curve just playing these teams, some of the best teams in our league here recently?
I think just learning the league and the conference, just getting used to it and stuff. And, of course, like, learning our offense and seeing myself in our team, what can I do? Because, like, different nights, I feel like I'm, like, versatile in ways. Like, some days I'll score, some days I do something else. Like, I'm not doing always the one thing, so I really try to do whatever's best for the team.
Yeah, but whatever you're doing, it seems to be working. Yet another 15 points, 5 rebounds against Central Missouri, and that was a victory, 86-73. Make it 6 straight against former Missouri Western head coach Dave Slifer and the Jennies. Down 22-15 early, a 14-0 run in the first half, up double digits at halftime. And credit UCM, they hung around for a bit, but then the lead just kind of grew at the right time. 10 for 11 at the foul line, that helps coach. And 19 assists, you're shooting north of 50%. I think I said it more than once on Saturday. Things were just clicking on the offensive end in transition and everywhere else.
Yeah, we played hard. And a lot of that, like we talked to Marie's our most consistent by far. She shows up every day. So you're talking about all those numbers. That's not happenstance. The kid's a worker. So we feel fortunate to have her. But I thought everyone played hard. I think we had 4 kids in double digits, 2 others with 9 and 8. We were clicking, but I think it was they saw themselves on film after Washburn, and I think they kind of made up their minds like, yeah, that's not who we are. So, no, defensively, our effort was there, and they have great players just the same. So I thought they played well, to be honest. They're number 23. She's exceptional. But, yeah, I thought they played hard. We played together finally. You talked about the assist category. We want to be north of 18 assists every single night, and then we shot the ball well again. So it was a great win on the road for us.
Yeah, multiple three-pointers made. I think it was like 11 of 27 from 3, 50% from the field, and multiple players in double figures. We talked to Alyssa Bonilla after the game on Saturday, 28 points, 10 assists. And Marie, in talking with Coach Feldhaus after the game, she pointed out how the guards did a pretty good job on Saturday of kind of finding the right people at the right time, you know, finding Jaden or Jesse or Cassie Karen, who had a double-double on Saturday. But in terms of Alyssa, right, you know, a fourth-year player here playing like an All-American at this point, it seems like when she's on, everybody else is on another degree. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think she just makes everybody else around her better. And, like, she has the drive in her, so when she's in it, we're in it. So, yeah, she's a big part of our team, and she did amazing on Saturday.
Sure. Well, we want to get to know Marie Sepp a little bit at first-year Griffon, of course, one of our 5 international students. And, Marie, I was joking with you before you came up because the school that you went to before Albany, your high school, I had to copy and paste it. There's so many letters. How do you pronounce the school that you went before college?
I'd say it Autentes.
Audentes, and then what's the second part? Sport.
That's like sports gymnasium in my language.
Sports gymnasium in Estonian, right? And it's like Finnish, is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Somewhat similar.
Really similar.
I was thinking that too because you're from Estonia. We've got players from Italy, Sweden, England, Poland. That's a lot of different languages this team could speak, huh? Yeah. I mean, what's that like, just getting to know all these people from all different corners of your continent, I guess?
I really like it. It was one of my things to, like, when I got recruited, to have other internationals around me, because they know we're going all through the same stuff. And just seeing all the different cultures and bringing it all to one team and being able to show it to the domestics, and then they kind of seeing our way of living. It's like interesting to see the differences in our lives, I guess.
Yeah. And Maria, of course, before playing collegiately, competing in the Women's Baltic Basketball League, Estonia part of the Baltic states, they're also representing the Estonian national team in the European Championships more than once. And Coach, I know you recruited internationally a lot in your time at Eckerd. When you noticed that Marie was in the portal looking for a new home, what really stood out to you?
Yeah, I recruit all these kids to get them the second time around. They tell me no because they're better than wherever I've been, and then they go Division I and they decide they want to get serious about basketball, and then they come to us the second time around. So I've known Marie for a while. So it wasn't until she was on the portal that I was like, okay. She gave me the time of day, but then that's genuine. I'm being serious. I've watched the kid play a lot, so reaching out to her, but. Yeah, the European stuff is awesome, and it fits our style. They shoot a lot of threes. It's the high ball screen, just versatile kids. So, and then she talked about it. That's like, they're great basketball players, but they're also great people. And it's so fun watching the 10 that we have now. They're a mess for sure, but all the different cultures and personalities, it meshes so well together. And she's right, having other internationals help them, obviously. They're all going through the same thing, being away from home, but they handle themselves exceptionally, and our domestics have meshed right in with them. They're all rubbing off on each other, which is kind of odd now. It's like, oh my gosh, you just get one clump of kind of the same human. It's awesome. So, yeah, we have an exceptional group, and our 50-50 split has worked out great to this point.
And on the flip side for you, Marie, what were you kind of looking for when you hit the portal, and when you first heard the phrase Missouri Western, I guess, what came to mind? Did you whip out Google Maps? I guess, what was this process like for you?
Yeah, I looked it up. Where's it at? Definitely looked up the weather. And then just the style of play. I mean, I heard that Coach Feldhaus came from Eckerd, so I knew it was going to be a new program, new culture, and just kind of seeing what type of play does she want to play, like a more European style, which is my style. I don't really like strict play, like more reading and stuff. So, and while I was calling with her and we were having conversations, I felt like that was a good place for me. So
yeah. Now you're from Tallinn. That's the capital of Estonia, right?
Yes,
right
yes.
there on the coast. What's something about Estonia that you feel like people don't know? Like, what's maybe a underrated part of growing up in that part of the world?
I think we're one of the most technological countries. Like, we have our IDs are like eSIMs, and like you can vote online and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people don't know it, because I've said it to a couple of Americans that I'm from Estonia. They don't even know where it's at.
Yeah. Well, I looked up pictures of Tallinn just this morning. I mean, it's right there on the coast. I mean, it looks beautiful there.
Yeah, there's an old town that's really pretty. It's like kind of medieval. So.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's great. That's kind of the purpose why we bring on our student athletes, just to get to know them a little bit and their background and their path to Missouri Western. Well, let's talk about the path this week, which takes us on the road out west, going to Fort Hays State on Thursday night, and then Nebraska Kearney on Saturday afternoon. And Coach, we know these are two teams. They're still very good. They're two teams who haven't lost since losing to us a couple weeks ago. Hays is 13-1, Nebraska Kearney 11-3. Saw them just 2 weeks ago, so by now we're pretty familiar. But Hays has got to be pretty ticked at us. We've gotten them now 3 in a row, 5 of the last 7. Just starting there, what's the key to matching their physicality and their intensity for a second game?
I think you just said it. It's the physicality, intensity. They push pace, and I thought we did a really good job. It kind of got let it get away from us in the second quarter. We talked about how many transition points they have, which those are just easy baskets. Those are catch-score layups. So trying to limit them in transition, and we want 3 stops, 3 scores, and that's kind of how you push a lead. And against a team like that, you never want to really let it get out of reach. I think they were within 6 points the other day, at Emporia and ended up winning by 20. So that's how quickly it can flip against them. But we did a great job on the boards. Scouting-wise, I will say this, that's the best we have played still to this season as far as the scout and how we wanted to defend. So we're looking to do the same thing. And then they're going to make some adjustments, and we'll do the same. So
yeah. Well, Marie, and then against Kearney, you had 21 points and a victory there. We won't talk about the other thing that happened against Kearney.
I don't even remember that game, so that's weird. I told Coach last year, I don't remember what we did.
Doesn't ring a bell. Yeah. Kearney 11-3 though, and Marie, you had a good game against them. In scouting the Lopers, what kind of stands out there?
I think they're just versatile. They have a lot of shooters, and they're good in the post too. So we just need to find a way to juggle both of them and help our post in the post while their shooters don't drown us from three.
Yeah, Kearney, a team that they missed the tournament last year. They've got a second-year head coach in Drew Johnson. It seems like they're starting to find their groove a little bit. 11-3. They've won 2 or 3 in a row since leaving St. Joe. So, and those are 2 places: Gross Memorial Coliseum and the Health and Fitness Center at Kearney. They'll pack it out and they'll make it loud. So, tough places to play, but Missouri Western has played in and won in some tough places, including on Saturday at the UCM Multipurpose Building, defeating Central Missouri. So back on the road, 5:30 Thursday, 4 o'clock, 5:30 for the women Thursday, 2 p.m. for the women on Saturday. Our order was flipped Saturday, so I'm all backwards. But the games will be broadcast live right here on the Griffon Sports Network. So, ladies, we'll see you down there. Good luck this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you. Marie Sepp and Ashton Feldhaus joining us on this part of the program. We'll take a break. We got to talk some men's basketball. We have a first-year Griffon here, but we've got a longtime Griffon joining us next, and fifth-year player Justin Bubak with fifth-year head coach Will Martin, a pair of guys that have been together for a while and doing some good things here in 2024-25 as the Griffins will take their 11-5 mark against the same 2 teams we talked about, Fort Hays State, at least the same 2 schools. They'll play Hayes and Kearney on Thursday, Saturday. So we'll discuss it next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. It's the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezonch, and as promised, our guest from men's basketball joining us now, head coach Will Martin, with the fifth-year senior from Lincoln, Nebraska, my neck of the woods, a 6'4", 210-pound senior. That is Justin Bubak, sporting jersey number 15 out on the floor. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. How's it going today? How are you feeling?
Always good when I can be in the presence of Justin Bubak.
Yeah, that is a good thing. Yeah, Justin, thanks for coming on.
Of course.
By the way, before we get into the interview, just want to say a quick congratulations to Missouri Western assistant men's coach John Hood, his wife Tara.
Yeah.
They had a baby shower yesterday. They're getting ready to start their family, so we wish those
nice
two
save right
the
there.
best.
Nice save.
Save?
Yeah, nice save, because off the air you had to apologize for not being at the baby shower.
I had a previous obligations.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're going in on a gift.
We'll still take your diapers.
Yeah.
We'll still take anyone's diapers.
Yeah, just send your cash. Yeah, so we're going in on a gift there. So, again, congratulations to the Hood family. Well, let's dive into the week, and I know we don't want to start with a loss, but that's how the week started. Playing, I think, the best team in Division II men's basketball right now, Washburn, and slow start, a comeback there in the middle, and then the Ichabod's doing what they do, putting people away late, and they beat us 92-74. Just starting with you, Coach, I know that wasn't the start we wanted, getting down 19-2, but then, as we talked about afterwards, we found some rhythm offensively. Trouble is, that team presents a very complex puzzle in defending, and when they're shooting north of 50%, they're hard to stop.
Yeah, credit to Washburn. They're the number 1 team in the country right now for a reason.
Okay. I didn't see they jumped to number 1.
Yeah,
okay.
Nova lost, so now Washburn's number 1.
Okay.
But it's not just about Washburn. There's been a few games where we haven't come out urgent, we haven't come out desperate, and we don't have very quick starts. And in that game, we're down 19-2. I thought the next 30 minutes we played fantastic. Even watching the film, I thought that we did a lot of really good things offensively. We did enough defensively, but you can't climb out of a 19-2 hole on the road to the number 2 team in the country. And so, our message to the guys is like, how do we make sure that we put a full 40 together? And right now it's like the thing that's lacking is that first 4, that first 5. And so, I thought we did a better job against UCM. We still kind of had a slow start against UCM, but we were able to kind of sustain our toughness and our energy that we brought to start the game. But credit to Washburn. The good thing is we get them again, so we'll get them here in Looney, and we're excited for that. But we're we're staying present on our current mission today.
Yeah, well, we'll play Washburn at home a week from Wednesday on January the 22nd. And Washburn walloped Northwest on Saturday. Not sure you saw that. Against Washburn, Justin Bubak, 14 points, 5 rebounds before fouling out there late. Justin, I have to commend you. I thought early when we got down, I saw you out there hustling, trying to get rebounds, taking some tough shots. So just wanted to commend you for that. But moving to Central Missouri, a 59-55 win. We hadn't won there since December of 2019. Coach said it, Justin, gritty, not pretty, to borrow from Sundance Wicks. We only led for 3.5 minutes, but a run at the end of the first half, we led it by a point there, and then Julius Dixon a go-ahead in the final minutes. And did you have the free throws there at the tail end, or was that somebody else?
Yes.
Okay, that was you. Okay, and 14 points there, 7 rebounds against UCM, and you played all 40 minutes of that game. To bounce back on a Saturday, that's a tough place to play, no matter their record. Just thoughts on the effort on Saturday?
I mean, I think it just proved that our guys aren't afraid of a fight. We can play any way you want us to play, but I mean, if you want to make it a fight, watch out for the Griffons.
Yeah.
I mean, our guys battled the whole time after a tough loss on Thursday. It just proves our resilience, I think.
Yeah. Now, I want to hit the rewind button on your journey a little bit. I can still distinctly remember MIAA tournament 2022. We're playing Rogers State, and you get the start. You had 4 starts that season. You set your career high in points. No, we did not win the game, and then that kind of started a couple of years of, some ups and downs, to say the least. Unable to play 22-23 with injury, and then last year, I know it was kind of like a steady build, right? A steady, climb up to the top, and you had, some pretty good games. UCO, Northwest come to mind, and I know this offseason there were some questions to be answered. Do I or do I not play my last year? And not only are you playing, but I mean, scoring double digits consistently. Let's just start there. What was the rehab like? What all had to happen for you to get to the form you're in today?
I mean, honestly, all glory to God. Like, I had nothing to do with the healing. This summer, it felt almost as bad as it has
Really?
all 5 years. And shout out Matt Schneider. We had a remarkably similar knee journey, and he went through the same decision 2 summers ago. So Coach Martin called me up this summer and encouraged me to talk to him. And what he told me basically is his knee still hurt. He came back for the guys, and he came back knowing that his knee hurt, and it might not heal. He came back for the guys. He came back for the coaches. So that's what I did, and that's what happened. I came back for the guys. I didn't know if my knee was going to feel better, and again, glory to God, knee isn't a problem. So.
Yeah. Well, then take me back to Canyon, Texas. You didn't start the first game of the year against Lubbock Christian, and then you do start against St. Cloud State, which was the start of then an 8-game winning streak, and you've been in the lineup ever since. Talk about that day and a half between, a tough loss to Lubbock and then a pretty convincing win against St. Cloud, because what a turnaround that was in a day and a half, and it sparked a pretty good run that this team has carried on.
Well, I mean, obviously we got a lot of new pieces. This is our first time playing together as a team, so there's going to be there's going to be some growing pains.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just, again, credit to our guys. We didn't back down from a fight. We were ready for St. Cloud that 2 days later. And the guys, I mean, they're just incredibly supportive of me. They've been supportive of me, and I came in with the intentions of just doing whatever the team needed to do, and it worked out.
Yeah, and Coach, just to kind of close this story a little bit, 5 years here with Justin, recruited out of Lincoln Christian by Sundance Wicks, an all-state player in Class C. What has he meant to you in your journey here?
But he wasn't, and that's what was so hard, was that I was the lead recruiter on Justin.
Okay.
Sonny was not as high on Justin. And then, Sonny left for Wyoming.
Right.
This is late in the cycle, and he hadn't signed anywhere. He had offers from pretty much every MIAA team in the league, and other schools as well, was getting, D1 interest also. And I kind of called him on a whim when I got the job. I mean, I get the job in March. He still hasn't signed anywhere. And, we talked for a couple weeks, and it was probably more spiritual than anything, just, talking about life and the journey that God has put both of us on, and some of the struggles that we've both been through. Obviously, it's a little different. He was 18 years old at the time. I'm 30, but you're able to connect in a way where you're able to talk about the valleys and the mountaintops of life. And he called me like 2 weeks later, and I thought he was going to call to say, I'm going to Fort Hays, or I'm going to Washburn or Northwest or whatever, and he said, I want to be a Griff. And so he was my first commit, and, you know, he's kind of the last piece of that first group that came in. And in my opinion, and people can have different opinions, but that really turned this program around. I mean, you look back 20 years ago with what Tom Smith was doing, all the banners, he has the name on the court, obviously, but we went through 20 years of not having any success in men's basketball. And then they brought in Sundance Wicks. I was his assistant. We flip it from having very, very bad losing seasons to, in Sonny's second year, we have a winning season. In my first year, we go to the NCAA tournament. Every year except for once that I've been the head coach here, at some point during the year, we've been a top 25 team in the country. And, like, that's what Justin Bubak has done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that. I think that gets missed a lot because all of us want to win national championships and we want to go 30-0 every year. It takes time to build something special and sustainable, and it's nothing that I've done or my staff has done. It's guys like Justin Bubak, and this is a guy that you also look at when he came in, COVID hit. You know, he has a knee injury. There's new transfer rules where you can leave and not have to sit out, and the kid has stayed loyal and true, not to me but to Missouri Western and to his brothers, like he said. And so I just think that's really special. I think that where we're at right now, we're not satisfied. We don't want to be 11-5. We want to be 16-0. But man, for about a 20-year stretch, there weren't no 11-5s at Missouri Western. There weren't any top 25s, and so, you know, that's credit to Justin, him doing it the right way, him being a leader on this team, and I'm just really proud of that, and he should be proud of that as well.
Yeah, I think about the last 5 to 7 years, like never missed an MIAA tournament, which not a lot of teams can say, and then 9 wins over top 25 opponents, which has helped us spend some time in the polls ourselves with higher goals in mind. We all know that. Okay, the trips this week, we talked about it already with the women. We're at Fort Hays State. Thursday night, 7:30. Nebraska Kearney now one of the hotter teams in the league. They've won 4 in a row with a new head coach. We go to their place on Saturday at 4. So we're back to the women leading us off and the men to follow. Hays, of course, still solid as well, 10-4 themselves. 2 really good defensive teams coach, and in the case of Kearney, solid wins against Northwest and Emporia. What's the key going into this week?
Hays is going to be another dogfight.
Yeah, knuckle fight.
Yeah. I like what Justin said because it's more true when if the guys say it. You know, I can sit here and try to flip as many narratives out as I want, but players win games and not coaches. And you know, he said it. Like we're pretty good when you want it to be a fist fight. I said it after the UCM game. My grammar was incorrect, but I said, we ain't a very good pretty team, you know, and we're not. When we try to play finesse and when we try to play, you know, pretty, we're not very good. When we hunker down and we guard and we turn it into a possession game, we're pretty good. And so that Hays game, it's going to be that. You know, I mean, they're a team that, as a head coach, you can get really anxious during the game because you look up and you're like, are we going to even score 25 points this game? Because, you know, they hold teams to 45, 46. They've held teams to 30 in their gym. And so, you know, it's going to have to be a tough, gritty game. And, you know, we have to make sure that we're very efficient on the offensive end because when a team turns it into a possession game like that and you know there's not going to be a ton of points scored, you got to make sure that every possession matters. The other thing that you have to make sure that you do in a possession game like that, and why we have to be so efficient offensively, is you can't let the other team steal a couple extra possessions. And obviously you never want that to happen, but when you're saying that each team is going to get 20 shots, all of a sudden a turnover here or an offensive rebound for the other team there, all of a sudden those extra 3 possessions, they weigh a lot heavier than in a game like Northwest where they're trying this year to get up the court and you got 60, 70 possessions. And you still want to value the ball, but like all of a sudden, you know, a turnover here, it doesn't weigh as much as a turnover against Fort Hays. So we got to be tough and gritty defensively, and then offensively we have to be extremely efficient.
Yeah. The Kearney, they came in won by 6, but we beat Fort Hays State at home 47-44. And Justin, like me, we're making a visit to our home state this Saturday. Does family come out to Kearney to come watch you play?
Always.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know it's a couple hours down I-80, but not too bad. And always fun going back there to play. So 2 teams that are pretty good. Kearney's a lot better. We know that. They've won 4 in a row, and Hays as solid. You know, Mark Johnson and defense, those things have gone together the last few years for Fort Hays. K-State. So 7:30 Thursday night, 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and we'll be there to broadcast on the Griffon Sports Network. Justin, Will, thanks so much. Will, you'll see you for the roundtable.
Thank you.
Justin, thanks for coming up.
Good job, Justin.
All right, there you go. Justin Bubak and Will Martin. As we close the book on men's basketball, we'll welcome Nicole and Ashton back up for a quick coaches roundtable, so stick around for that as we round out the show next from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. All right, we are back for our coaches roundtable. Nicole Thompson getting the honors to do this for the first time with our basketball coaches Ashton Feldhaus, Will Martin, Cody Ingold unable to join us this week. Well, coaches, it's been about a month since we've done this. What was the best gift you got for Christmas? Just wanted to start there. What was the best thing under your tree?
Oh.
Must not have been that good.
It's hard when you have a
Kids,
kid.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
now I
yeah,
just
I
buy all
understand.
my presents for her. So
Yeah.
probably get just to spend time with my family. Oh, and we did get to go to Disney World.
That's
so
pretty good, yeah.
to see that and experience that with my 4-year-old. So yeah.
Coaches, how about you? Anything come to mind there?
I bought myself the gift of less wrinkles on my forehead.
She had like half a wrinkle, and so yeah, it wasn't even half a wrinkle. It was like I don't know.
I had a couple, and now I have 0.
She has 0.
So
Okay.
I gave the gift to myself, though.
Okay, we're about the same age, Ashton. I'm going to be 30 here in 3 weeks, so
Okay.
I'm a little concerned about wrinkles now myself. I wasn't before, but now I'm
okay.
going to be self-conscious.
No,
y'all could go
don't
to the same
be.
person.
Yeah, no, I went when I was at home. Sorry, I gotta find someone in Kansas
okay.
City though, because I
Yeah.
can't be flying back and forth.
I have
fair
a big
enough.
nose, so if I got Botox, I think that like my the proportions would, it'd be like scary. a
The
little
girls,
bit.
I walked into practice and they were like, "Oh, we don't know if you're mad or not," and I was like, "Well, I am."
Yeah, you'll hear it if you can't see it.
exactly.
Well, I'm glad y'all survived that big snow we got. We played on Saturday, and then it hit. Ashton, you and Kendall walking to practice the other day. How far was that?
When I took this job, y'all said it gets cold, but it doesn't snow.
Typically,
so
no.
we don't even have a shovel. So then, and we had practice because we played in 2 days.
Yeah.
And we tried to shovel it, and it didn't work. And then our tires were spinning. And
Oh,
then
man.
I was like, well, we don't have a choice because the girls are there. So we left, and it took us 2 hours, and we walked 4 miles.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, we made it.
Got your cardio that day. Nicole, and we're talking to Andy, who spent time in the NSIC. You're from Loveland, Colorado, so this is probably, you're pretty used to this by now, right?
Yeah. But again, when I took the job, they told me, "Oh, it'll be cold, but it'll be less snow than Colorado."
Yeah.
And then my little old neighbor was like, "Oh, this is the worst storm we've had in 3 decades." And I was like, "Great."
Yeah. I mean, growing up 2 hours up the road, getting a foot of snow, nothing. But yeah, this was in my 4+ years. Yeah, it was crazy. But coaches, last thing, kind of ending on a kind of a more newsy note. Andy was up here. We were talking of a myriad of things. The NCAA convention this week. Obviously, there's a lot of court cases and rulings and things to still be settled. But obviously, the game has changed a little bit in terms of recruiting and how you go navigate this new world. I guess just starting there, just kind of an open-ended question. What do you see as the biggest challenge today in recruiting people at this level to come and play for you, just given the nature of what's going on?
Man, I'm a little different because I think that the core of what we do can't change, and it's all about relationship building. And I think that you can easily, get all negative about the way things are, but I said a few weeks ago, like you're either going to adapt or die. Like this is the system, and it's not going anywhere. I know a lot of coaches or administrators that would get salty about some things. I try to see the positive. Like you look at a Tay Fields who, he didn't come back for his senior year, but like we helped him in that process, and now, he's having a fantastic senior year at UNA.
Right.
Like one, it's great for the kid. Financially, it was a better situation for him, so it was good for the kid. Now, get this. I think that it's great for Missouri Western. I think that it's great for me to be able to bring in a kid and say, hey, look, whether you're here for 3 years, 4 years, or whatever, understand that we've had kids that have graduated. We've had kids that have graduated that now are on coaching staffs in the NBA. We have guys that have graduated and went to med school. We also have guys that did their part here for 2 or 3 years, went somewhere else and had a ton of success, and we were a part of that.
Yeah.
And so if you have bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, you can fulfill all of that here at Mo West.
Yeah.
Mo West Bless, come in. There's no more restrictions. You can come here for 2 years, 3 years. Some people might not like that. Old school people know it's got to be 4 years and they got to graduate. Why don't you come here and get a great education? Come here and build fantastic relationships that you'll have the rest of your life. And because of Missouri Western and the platform and the great coaches sitting right here, you will always have an opportunity to move up or to do whatever you want, and we're going to love you no matter what and be there with you across the whole time.
That's great perspective, because you probably saw Jim Larenega's resignation at Miami, right? I mean, he was like, we're all doomed, but I don't think that's the case, right?
Well, like the thing, and great coach, Hall of Fame
very
coach,
good
and
coach,
so
yeah.
this isn't a troll or like anything negative on him, but you look at the success that they had when they got there was based on transfer kids.
Yeah.
So like, it giveth and it taketh away. I think that you have to have perspective on that. I think that the more negative you are, the probably harder it's going to be for you to take advantage of, the system that's here now. And I think that it's fantastic for the kids because they have more equity and they have more opportunity than they've ever had. Mm-hmm. I do think that there needs to be more structure. Right now it's a little too wild west. I think that there needs to be some bylaws, and I think that there needs to be some structure, but I think that we have to utilize it without losing the most important factor, which is relationship building. And I think that there's a lot of coaches and a lot of administrators out there, because things have changed, they think, well, we can't build the relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's horse crap. That's horse crap. That's you being scared, and that's you. That reveals that it was always transactional for you and not transformational, because it was transformational for you when you could keep a kid for 4 years. But now it ain't transformational anymore. So that tells me that for you it was always transactional. It was what was best for you. Yeah. And so I think that we always have to do what's best for the kid, and that's not what's best for us. And you have to lead with relationships, and I don't think that's changed. I think that we have an even bigger opportunity now to build relationships than we've ever had.
Well said, as always, Coach. Ladies, anything to add on that?
I think, like you said, hold on, it's the Wild Wild West. And I think it makes me a better coach, because I think it gets me more competitive in my recruiting style. And, you're up against a lot of different people, and with us having the roster size at D1s, but also now going through the transfer portal of bringing the kids that I got to bring when I made this transition, you just can't take things personal. And, I think it's you, like what Will said, is you go to what your philosophy and your relationships that you have with your core team, and you base that off of, and you get into the portal if you need to, or if kids want to leave, and you just cannot take things personal. And I'm just a true believer that what goes around will come around, and, if we keep on working hard, and we have great facilities here, and so you bring kids on campus, and it's like, oh, whoa. It's, a little bit different than where they've been at. And now you add the relationships of the coaches. Now you add the relationship of our strength and conditioning, our athletic trainers, our admin that care about us. And now you have the whole picture of why kids choose us and want to stay here if they do.
Yeah, I feel like I've always talked with Andy when you were hired and Tyler Fenwick all in the last couple of years, that this place kind of sells itself in terms of location, the facilities, the league, our history. So it's like, the old saying I hear coaches say all the time, control what you can control. All right. Well, thanks for the discussion, guys. Good luck to all of you. I know you got a couple weeks yet, but have fun at practice, and we'll see you guys in Hayes.
We'll
Thanks,
still take
Tommy.
the diapers, Tommy.
Yeah, they'll be in the mail. All right, thank you to Will and to Ashton and Nicole for joining us on the Coaches Roundtable. Thanks to our in-person audience for joining us. Thanks for our listening audience out there in Radio Land for listening to us today on the Griffon Sports Network. I'm Tommy Rezach. We'll be back not Monday but Tuesday of next week, the 21st of January, postponing a day due to MLK Day. On Monday, campus will be closed on the 21st, or on the 20th, I'm sorry. So we'll be back the 21st, a Tuesday at noon, for another edition of the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you podcast, and see you next week. So long.